So I'm here today with Susan, who participated in the Freedom to Thrive program, a woman-centered coaching journey for mission-driven women leaders, many working in nonprofit, education, healthcare, and other service-oriented fields. And in this conversation, she's generously sharing reflections on the transformation she experienced and what it meant to be supported in a space designed specifically for women who care deeply and give a lot. Welcome, Susan. It's so lovely to be here with you today.
Thank you, Daniela. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm so happy to share.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I would love to start just by asking you what was going on in your life when you joined the coaching program?
Yes, I had several big transitions going on simultaneously. I made a very large cross-country move with my family. Around the same time, I chose an early retirement from my 30-year career in health policy and health services in the public sector, and began to step into a transition of serving in an individual consultant capacity to directly connect with families and their health and well-being needs around the end of life transition. All three of those large transitions were happening simultaneously with my raising of two young, beautiful souls in the world as a sole parent of a one-mom family. So, needless to say, I was coming from a place of both confidence and accomplishment and burnout, overwhelm, and moments of despair.
Mm, mm. Thank you so much for sharing that, Susan. Yeah, those are three really big things, big transitions to hold at the same time, and just holding the weight of that. And as you're saying, the overwhelm, the burnout, and even despair that can
Mm.
come as a result. I'm wondering if you wanted to say any more about that, about the overwhelm or the burnout and kind of what that looked like for you or what that felt like for you in the moment that you joined the program.
Yes, I was excited about all of the transitions. And so there was a positive force propelling me. And in some ways, that lulled me into a feeling of it should all be good and all feel good. And the more I accomplish, I can accomplish even more. And the more I give, I can give even more. And so I felt like my life was becoming an ever revolving to-do list.
Mm,
And I just felt like I had to keep tackling and retackling and retackling. So all that was going on, and at the surface, it didn't feel bad or out of reach. But I so often kept finding myself in a state of exhaustion,
mm,
depletion, and feeling a lack of support around me because I was accomplishing and doing so much on my own,
yeah.
and realizing that that feeling of burnout shifted me so quickly into resentment
Mm,
and then anger and then the sadness and despair.
mm, mm,
And so that even when I found myself in moments of joy and accomplishment, I was just one moment away from the deep plunge
Wow.
over and over again, and just felt trapped in that cycle.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Susan. And I think that's such a common experience that a lot of women have, right? Like you talked about the ever revolving to-do list. So it's kind of like it just keeps going and going and going. And then the feeling of like, I'm accomplishing all this and I'm giving all this and I can do even more. And so we kind of keep going in that cycle and driving ourselves. And then sometimes only after realize like, actually, I'm so exhausted. And then, if I keep pushing harder and harder and doing more and more, I'm just going to get resentful. And that that kind of edge of what I can handle is getting thinner and thinner, right? Like you're talking about kind of being right on the edge of that feeling of kind of plunging into what you're actually feeling instead of pushing through. So thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's a vulnerable place to be, is when it starts to hit us like that. And so I'm wondering, for you, what changed for you as a result of participating in the coaching program?
I think, first of all, it was a beautiful step just to hear the offering and to feel a possibility of something different that wasn't just adding things to the to-do list and checking them off and feeling good about them, and then just expecting that all of that together was going to make everything okay. So the coming into the program, then what shifted for me was being guided into my own vision of a new framework that still honors my service and my leadership at the same time as I discovered that those qualities are not sourced from my accomplishments and giving, which just leads to overgiving. They're actually sourced from my own inner resilience, which comes from my unique vision of how I need to and can support myself as a unique soul and as a woman in this world who has a gift to give. And that gift starts with and is sourced from my own gift to myself, which is
Mhm.
an honoring and a supporting um, and an awareness building and a skill building
Yeah.
process, but ultimately one that is an inner process that flows outward,
Mhm.
not an outward vision that society or someone else has that I need to follow.
Wow, that's so powerful. So it's kind of turning inward and really connecting with that, connecting with your own needs, your own vision, and then using that to resource yourself to then go forward, to be able to share your gift with the world in a way that also serves you at the same time. And
Yeah, yes.
and I would love to hear, Susan, like for you, I know there were some things around, a shift in terms of being able to actually get to a space where you could prioritize, yourself and your needs. Could you talk a little bit about that shift that happened for you in terms of being able to create space for that for yourself?
I think the first part is while I've done a lot of work, spiritual work in a lot of ways, there was still an unknowing that the inner support sources everything that goes out. And so that's the first thing that I want to share. And then there are all the ways through the course that brought me into that personal awareness.
Yeah.
The so first the shift of looking inward and being open to understanding what I was ignoring in the inner world. So, yes, you need to take care of yourself before you can take care of anyone else. Those are words we hear, those are words we might even say to ourselves, and they were feeling empty to me
Mm,
until I was actually guided through processes that weren't cookie cutter processes. They were invitations for my own visualization, my own deeper feelings and wants and desires, and my own needs, which we so rarely are given permission to have or feel. And through those hands-on processes, I came to see how much external circumstances, external standards, external boxes were holding me back, not only in my experiences, but also in my vision of where I could go and what I could be and what I am. And in uncovering those forces, as it were, the processes and the coaching gave me the space and the tools to then see how I was making those external forces true for myself
mm,
in a way that I wasn't conscious of.
mm, mm.
So then, in such a gentle way that had zero feeling of blaming myself, I was able to see where I hopped on the societal train of my limited capability and actually like opened up to like I decide what I'm capable of
Mm.
and I decide what I need to find that capacity.
Wow.
I think that kind of sums up not, it wasn't just getting a new list of things to do
Right. Right.
and a new list of things of how I'm holding myself back and women hold themselves back. It was an unfolding from the inside out of realizing potential without feeling insufficient.
Wow. That's so powerful. And I mean, that is really the core, right? Because it's not about being insufficient. It's about what we're connected to or disconnected to within ourselves and our own potential, our own power, our own possibility. And I love what you said, like I get to decide because that's the truth. But you know, when we're in overwhelm and burnout and feeling trapped, it doesn't feel like that. It's really hard to see that. So to kind of come back to that really authentically and organically is so powerful. So I love that. And I would love to ask you as well, you know, like coming to that realization, like it actually is my choice. I get to decide what shifted for you as a result of that. Like, what did you actually change as a result of that in your life?
The first thing that where I really felt a dramatic shift was in the realization that I have a unique gift and I'm worthy of having a purpose in this lifetime
Mhm.
and sharing it. So even when I say it now, it feels a little obvious. Like, didn't you feel that before? But in going through the steps, I realized that I was going forward with my leadership and my strong accomplishments and feeling good about my service, both to my family, to raising these children, and to my service to others through, family health and policy and services. And that felt good. And somehow I wasn't quite pulling it all together with my own undercurrent of gift and purpose. And I realized that I internally was somehow blocking when I heard others talk about, I have a gift of singing and I have to share that with the world. I have a gift of reaching children in their development and I just have to share that with the world. I have no choice. My purpose and my gifts seemed in an unconscious way to fall short. And while I felt good giving, it didn't feel like I was giving a unique gift to the world that was propelling me forward. And so by going through identifying the external pieces, identifying the barriers that I was bringing unconsciously, identifying the paths that could take me out of that, I just came into this shift of tremendous outflow and purpose and just joy in sustaining myself rather than feeling a burden of self-care.
Mhm.
So this possibility came forward that it's not the self-care and the giving are not separate pieces that you give to one and the other piece is drained. They're simultaneously happening at the same time. And that self-awareness and prioritization increases my gift. Increases what I can give to my family. It decreases my resentment when things don't go as planned. And it is giving me a renewed strength and confidence to go into the second career path that I was feeling good about and at the same time fearful. of breaking out on my own as a sole leader and creating my own business. And so this reprioritization of my own needs and maintaining my own sacred boundaries gives me this forward momentum to launch this new career in a joyful way.
Yeah. That's amazing. And I think it's kind of connected together, right? Like creating the space for yourself, including the space for your own uniqueness and your own gift to shine through and really kind of stepping into that and owning that, right? Like this is me, this is my gift, instead of kind of being a person here just to serve other people. Like I'm here with this unique gift and I'm going to really fully step into this gift, and that's what I'm bringing, and it feels natural and it feels joyful and it feels like my true purpose that I've been carrying for a long time and can kind of let fully shine in the world, which is
Yes.
which is really beautiful. And Susan, I just want to ask you, when you say so that allowed you to kind of, you took the time to prioritize yourself and to hold those boundaries sacred, like what did that look like in real time? What did you shift around, or how did you navigate creating that for yourself?
The day-to-day navigation was yeah, still in progress,
Of
which is
course,
absolutely
yeah.
the way it should be and needs to be.
Yeah.
Started with re a renewed focus on my almost like my somatic and spiritual needs. If um,
Yeah.
kind of, when I start to get out of touch with the present moment and my body and what I'm doing and why I'm doing it, and if it's not working or working, that just in the past, I just skipped over it because I've got high executive functioning. I can just, accomplish things the best I can. It is what it is, move on. And what happened on a, what's happening now on a more regular basis is I'm taking time to tangibly identify what is it internally that brings me back to seeing myself as a gift in the world.
Mm.
And what brings me back both physically and also just internally on a spiritual sense, what brings me back to my strength and resilience. And a lot of those answers were moments of creative spark. So carrying around a little notebook with some colored pencils where I've got 5 minutes where I'm waiting in line. I have 10 minutes where I'm in a waiting room. I can pull that out and I can source myself with 5 minutes of creation and realizing that that 5 minutes carries forward into supper time with my kids and somebody complains about what I made and I just have more resilience. I can't stop it or change it. And it, so adopting little reminders to myself that, my reminder is my first mantra and reminder that I come back to is I am a bright soul that shines deeply into every cell and being in the world. And, create finding that, I don't want to even say creating that, but finding that within myself through this course is now a 30-second reset
Mm.
that helps me to not get paralyzed by imperfection and immobilized by feeling exhausted. I know that I will continue to reprioritize myself and resource myself when needed. And so it's not this feeling of despair of I'm burned out. There's no, it's going to keep happening. There's no way out of this cycle. I'm trapped. I know that there are so many things available within me that I've identified and I continue to identify that are always going to be able to resource me, and that keeps the gift flowing, not the set of accomplishments and not following what the prescription is from the outside.
Wow, that's powerful. And I love that, just like that idea of having this really core statement that takes you back, right? It brings you back to what is actually true and what's the foundation, and kind of can go from there. When we get into, I should have done this better, or I could be doing this, or like all those, impossibly high standards that we hold ourselves to. So I think that's powerful. And I love carrying the little notebook and having those moments of creativity. That's such a creative way to do it, right? To have that with you. And there's so many different ways we can do that. And so I love what you said, and just shows how, we can find those ways for ourselves when we really step into knowing just how critical it is to have those tools available and to create those spaces and those opportunities for ourselves to re-nourish, to replenish on a regular basis. And I guess the one other thing I wanted to just touch on, I know part of what you did as well was create very specific time blocks for yourself so that you had time to work on the doula training, you had time to nourish yourself. And I wondered if you could just talk maybe a little bit about that, about how the structure of your life was adjusted to actually make this possible for you.
Yes, I had in before taking the course, I had gone through a few iterations of time blocking and structuring my family time to try to solidify routines, to smooth and create greater ease and reliability with morning times, evening times, weekend times. And I was just before taking the course on the precipice of wanting to do that for myself during the times when I was not with my children. And so I had a sense that this was an important part of making a shift into a direct service position with my certifications and trainings, as well as to create the structure to thrive in that new career. But I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And so through the course of being in the sessions with you, Daniela, and doing this work, I realized the importance of all the different elements that I wanted and needed to be a part of that structure. Attention to my physical being, room to express creativity. And the work components naturally found themselves in two different categories. One was tangible work, taking trainings, doing research, resourcing, building networks. And the other piece that evolved through this course was my own personal work that was alongside this new career shift. And it became important for me to time block this personal work of how do I feel about end of life processes so that I am bringing a depth and a richness to my end of life guidance for others and their families. And the course not only helped me to identify that as a need and as part of the richness of my gift, but also as a particular component of my work that was truly sacred and joyful. And so, Danielle, I remember you with that time block in particular, really encouraging me when I go into that time to really feel like, what does it feel to be doing this work and to tap into the joy of the explorations of personal experience and personal growth in a way that is unique just to me.
Mm.
And by doing that, I look forward to those blocks. And even if I skip that block one day or one week, I'm motivated to go back to it. So I don't feel bad about deviating from the structure. I just, I've built the muscle and the motivation to want to get back into it if I have to deviate from it for a given reason. And so, yes, like that, putting that structure in place after the gentle opportunity of deepening my awareness of barriers, deepening my own development of my own needs and boundaries. And then on top of that, creating the structure. So the structure is not a top-down societal given list of sit down at your desk for 1 hour, set a timer, don't get up, even if you want to coffee, don't do this, and you will accomplish. Completely different. And it's completely shifted
Mm.
my own ability to move forward.
That's amazing, Susan. Thank you. Yeah, like coming to that place of the structure that's really a foundational support rather than an external pressure. And I would love to ask you, for you, what were the most valuable parts of the coaching program?
The most valuable parts for me were the the curriculum that was so well thought out and yet natural and full of ease and full of holding that it just snuck up on me that it even was a curriculum. So I think that it was, so that's kind of the overarching backbone that I felt was that the creation of the course and what it offered me and the other women was so finely tuned and well executed that I never felt unsafe or pressured or blamed. and only felt that or realized that I have the answers myself. It
Mm.
wasn't a course about getting the answers from someone who's really smart and accomplished and all those things that, while they're true, it was about this unique ability to facilitate women to find, and me as a woman, to find my own truths. And while there were commonalities across all the women in the course, each one of us had a unique flavor and language to our truth. And that's the only way it's sustainable uh, in my feeling of it. So that overall structure and holding is the most important thing that I would love to share. I also wanted to share something about how amazing it was and is to be guided with other women through something that is common in probably all humans and the course of human life, and something where there are unique pressures, constraints, um, and limitations that are imposed on women, some of which we may already know about and see, some of which we don't already know about and see, and all of which can be so powerfully shifted in community. So I just think the combination of having someone to guide me as a woman through my own process in a hands-on, gentle yet powerful way, while experiencing and seeing and learning from other women going through the same processes, brought me to a different level of transformation and growth that I wouldn't have been able to find or realize or know about on my own.
That's amazing, Susan. Thank you. And I mean, you spoke about that so powerfully, and I think, that's why I love to do this in a group, because that power of community and how we learn and grow from others' experience, and just having that support of other women who are experiencing the same thing, and really knowing and feeling that we're not alone, right? I think that's so important. And so just one last question that I would love to ask you is, if you were speaking to another mission-driven woman who was considering joining a program like this, what would you say to her?
I would say that you have everything you need to continue your mission and to support yourself and serve yourself and the world within you, and give yourself this gift of being guided into feeling and experiencing that on a deep inner level in a way that is so hard to find on our own, but can be and is so liberating and allows a soaring into confidence, leadership, and giving that I didn't know was possible. So I encourage you to give yourself this gift of finding your own potential and possibility that's inside.
That's amazing, Susan. That's so beautiful. I love the image of soaring. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for being here today and sharing your experience. I appreciate it so much. And just, I wanted to say if you're watching this and you're curious and thinking, well, I wonder what my journey could look like. As Susan's saying, like, what's it going to take for me to be able to take all this potential that's already inside and really be able to expand this and soar and feel that joy and thriving as I do that? I would love to connect with you. So feel free to book a discovery call and you can find the link below.